Probably Leo's. I think Leo's discipline I would steal.
I think if I could get any skill from any of my teammates, it would probably be Mel's ability to like calm in really stressful situations. Like she's always talking no matter what, and I think that's very valuable to have.
I definitely want to steal Sugetsu's skill. As I think like Sugetsu is just like an amazing player, and like he's so good at the game, and like I wish I had his aim and like his like movement, and as well as like something from Paper X I think is really good too. Like his aim is so insane. Like if you ever see like a clip of him or anything, he's just like the best player ever, and he plays a super high sense. So I wish I could just have their skill.
This is gonna shock some people, but I think Sugetsu, because every time I watch a game from Sugetsu, like he just shocks me every time. Like his game sense and like I think his raw mechanics too. Like even though it's nothing like too special, like he always gets like he's always like good for like 2 or 3, like on Senti rolls and like smoke rolls. So I think honestly I want his like game sense.
If I could steal any player's skill, it'd probably be Boaster's, and most likely like his IGLing and his awareness of the game, because I feel like that's something I really struggle with and I've been trying to improve the most. And just watching Boaster's like streams and watching how his mind like works is pretty amazing, and I wish I had that, and that's what I'm truly working towards.
If I could steal any player's skill, it'd probably be DRX Mindfreak. He's a pro player that I really look up to. As a controller player, I look to other controller players for like inspiration, and he's just really good on the fly. He makes really good decisions in like the 1v1s or like the 1v2 situations, and it's really admirable. Something I really want to try to replicate in my gameplay.
Hello everyone, welcome back to VCT Game Changer Series 2 NA presented by Verizon. We got a good start to our day here with this Xset and DSG game, with DSG getting that upset and knocking Xset to the lower bracket. But of course, our bracket is just shaking up, and already across the gate, Bach, that is not the only upset we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Van said that the EG phase game was an upset, and I'm willing to give him that one. But this Complexity Shopify Rebellion game, to me, was definitely an upset. It's not to say that Complexity is bad. It's just that Shopify Rebellion is notorious in the game changer scene in North America for being a seriously powerful opponent. So to see them lose would be one thing. To see them lose 2-0 is a completely different beast. The fact that Shopify went down in the first round into that lower bracket is surprising, but it's indicative of the change that is coming here with Game Changers here in Series 2. Obviously, the teams that were on the fringe that watched maybe the grand finals, the upper finals, the lower finals, they were all like, okay, what can we do next time? Let's take notes. We're going to play through all of the open events in the quote-unquote off-season, and we're going to come back stronger, and that's exactly what they've done, Vans.
Yeah, I'm still going to put a little asterisk on there. I don't want to discredit what Complexity's been doing so far, but I do remember a few days ago, KP was tweeting out, hey, you know, things have been going well. I've been rushed up to hospital for like ER and dealing some stuff. So that maybe could have been an issue as well. But I was gonna mention like Shopify Rebellion, agreeing with you, Bach, that they came back this Game Changers with a slight roster change, dropping Benita, but adding Sibui to the roster, and it never looked like it really changed. Maybe today it was a little bit different with the external factors that's maybe made things more difficult for Shopify Rebellion to get a good series, but you know what? We'll have a chance to talk about Shopify Rebellion, I'm sure, because we have to focus on the bigger game now.
Yeah, even if they're in the lower bracket, they're definitely a team that always perseveres. So making that lower bracket run, I'm sure we'll get to see them down the line. And for now, it's time to look at this V1 and Complexity matchup and see what Complexity is made of. Since, I mean, they did take down Shopify Rebellion, and regardless of what's going on over at Shopify Rebellion, that was a 2-0 victory that Complexity was able to take. So obviously they're cooking something up for this Game Changers. It'll be so interesting to see how this one is going to be shaking up, especially to this Complexity roster definitely has some hard hitters.
I think that Complexity is probably a better team than people anticipate, and that's largely because people just come into this event and they look at the key figures. They look at teams like V1, they look at teams like Shopify Rebellion, and it's easy to just let teams like Complexity sort of fade into the background. You forget that some of these players have played together for a little bit longer than others, but they have pieces that seem to fit well together. And it's clear that the team is able to go into the lab and do the homework because they come out with that big win against Shopify Rebellion. That said, this is a very, very difficult game. If you thought the opener that they had was tough, this one is even tougher. So they have to be absolutely perfect. They have to be precise because version 1 is a team that does not really make many mistakes.
Yeah, and I made a small mistake, speaking of mistakes, about talking about a team that's also been grinding it out as well as EG, even though EG lost out against FaZe. It's Complexity. Complexity was also a team that built their own tournament for the offseason between Game Changer Series 2 and 3 to have the Complexity Paradox event. And they are actually a very good team, and slight role changes going on now into Game Changer Series 3 as Lace is not IGLing anymore for the team. It's more Jazzikins, if I'm not mistaken, at this point.
Yeah, so it's been, especially with this new change, because Lace spoke very highly of now Jazzikins stepping into this IGL role and how that's gone down for the team. So excited to see Complexity now in the upper semifinals and how they're going to fare. But this is where things get a little bit tricky because Bach, you touched on it. They're going up against V1, and this V1 roster, to say the least, is actually just kind of terrifying. Their gameplay, everything they show out there on the maps is just nothing short of what's happening. This team's just a cut above.
This team crushed everyone last time around. It was not even really close. There was maybe 1 or 2 maps that were like even quote unquote close. I look back at Series 1 and they had that final against Shopify Rebellion, and map 1 was 13-10. That was one of the closest maps we saw a team do. That was a 7-5 half in favor of Shopify Rebellion that ended 13-10. Kind of illustrates how the game went after the half, that they only surrendered 3 rounds after that. Every other map was like 13-6, 13-5. It was pretty rough. This team is so insanely talented. They've got quite a bit of weapons to work with as well, because normally when you look at some of these teams, you're looking at like the duelists, and we always talk about the duelists. As I say that, we're talking about the duelists. but Fluorescent is so much better than maybe the stats even indicate. Vans, one of the craziest things looking at this, usually when we profile it head-to-head against duelists, you've got Fluorescent and Jazzy, you're not really looking at how they'll match up against each other. But in this case, I am. Fluorescent in the last 3 games is 30-12 against opposing duelists.
Yeah. That's
so
the crazy
she's
part,
going out of her way to kill the other duelists.
And that is a crazy stat to bring up for sure. And even on top of that, as I glanced over it before, but Jazzikin has the extra responsibility now to be IGLing the team of Complexity. Maybe it's going to allow other players like Lace to activate a little bit more, because I remember even before Lace got picked up as an IGL for Complexity, she was also popping off and grinding the scene, and just I played 10 like pickup games against her, and she's just cracked out of her mind. And now that she has an opportunity to release that and not have that responsibility of having to call and look at the minimap all the time, this is going to be on Jazzikins' role to see if she could go head-to-head against Fluorescent here, but it's going to be very difficult at that point. There are some shining moments, though, because we touched upon it earlier in that previous series of like, okay, well, it's rare that we see duelist IGLs. Well, Katarina is definitely one of them as well, right? So if you're just looking at GC in North America, there's maybe hope that Jazzikin could really step up to the plate against Fluorescent, but as you mentioned, Bach, it's just difficult overall.
What's difficult against this V1 squad is if you're able to get past Fluorescent, well, there is a lot of other firepower on this team, and normally we don't necessarily get to talk about people in a role that's maybe not the duelist quite as much, but we need to talk about Noya, because honestly, Bach, how can we not?
Coming into bracket play, Noya, I think, was number 2 in most meaningful statistics categories. Not meaningful statistics for Sentinels, all of them. So you're looking at ACS, KD, cast percentage, ADR, KPR, all of those numbers that you normally don't associate with a Sentinel. Noya was near the top. You know who was in front of Noya? It was Fluorescent. It's a painful 1-2 punch when your duelist can go out and literally hunt the other duelists, and your player, who is usually playing more of an anchor role, locking down a site, is also crushing you. So if you have someone who's potentially on the defensive side getting aggressive and taking players out early, you're thinking we're going to go the other direction. No, you're not.
Yeah, and real quick, mind you, Noya also used to play a Jet over at Exit before they switched out from a double duelist style with her and Bunnybee, and then she was starting to play a little bit more of that Sentinel role, and that's where she actually still put out some very good numbers in that role itself. I think for version 1, I don't know who is scouting for the players or if it's really around a core being built around like Mel and Alexis, but they're doing such a great job having star players revolving around them so that every single one of the pieces of this roster really shines.
Yeah, everything kind of just makes sense. Everything clicks together so well from this V1 roster. Definitely a lot of care and love put into that roster, and it really gets to show right now. So going into this, we've gotten to see the upsets on the day, and definitely Complexity being put in a position where they would have to be upsetting V1 going into this. And with the map picks and bans, it will be Complexity to try to get that momentum out of the gate, as Vans will be heading to Lotus to start this off.
Yeah, I'm still, when I'm looking at map picks and bans for teams for all of the game changers since 2021 against version 1 or even Cloud9, it always feels like that Mel, whatever Mel does, they always seem to play right into their wheelhouse. Because if you look at the stats of version 1, in this Game Changers, what maps have they really played? They've only really played around like 3 maps, being Split, Pearl, and Lotus. So every single time you're trying to play right into that play, and it's actually Complexity's map pick. So I hope there's going to be some tape on that they've learned. I mean, Sloth definitely does a good job here with Complexity in the VOD reviews, but if not, like, you don't even know how deep the map pool of version 1 is going to continue to be every time you're getting into these game changers.
That's what I was going to touch on. It's scary, the fact that their map pool could be incredibly deep. You assume based on the way they're playing the maps that we do see that their map pool probably extends a little bit deeper. And we have seen them show that in previous events, but they haven't had to because the series often doesn't go to a third map. They don't really need to even see that decider. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to play a map that we feel comfortable with. We're going to keep the series in comfortable territory. And they kind of get that luxury because the maps they play overlap with almost everyone that's competing in this event. So it's a huge get for the side of version 1, as they don't have to really illustrate what they can do until they absolutely have to. So you're looking at your upper finals, your grand finals, situations where you're going to have to play more maps or you're going to be playing against a more difficult opponent. And I do think that this map pool does play quite nicely for version 1, as we've seen many times in the past.
And you talked about the comfort too. Both of these teams got to play starting out on Lotus in their upper quarterfinal matches. So they're both warmed and ready on the map. And of course, both teams did quite well, but going back to, we talked about Fluorescent, we talked about this cracked Zoomer. This is where we got to see the Neon come out, and Fluorescent, over the 2 games that V1 did play, just absolutely popped off here.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult to deal against. And although Neon started to have some sort of like surge around like the main circuit with the VCTs and what we saw in the Americas, even Cloud9 pulling that out, how having a Neon in your composition really allows for you to rotate around the map very quickly from door to door. And also think about Kiwi, for example, an op on a Neon on defense has been quite potent on the C site. But it's still starting to look like it was sort of starting to get figured out within the VCTs, because after C9 did it for a bit, they started getting very close games against Crew and whatnot, and even losing in moments before they had to step away from the Neon once again. So hopefully there's going to be some sort of resemblance that Complexity understands how this composition is being played, and they'll be able to counter this.
The question you have to ask yourself is, Complexity's obviously riding a bit of a high coming in with a 2-0 victory over Shopify, a team that they largely weren't expected to beat. If they did beat them, it was probably going to go to map 3. They beat them 13-9 on Lotus, so they clearly had to do their homework and put in work. V1, yeah, they played the same map in their opening series, but Overkill Black was an aggressively underrated underdog. Like they were definitely up against the wall, and they end up cruising to a victory 13-5 in that map. It didn't look like V1 really had to put in much work. They didn't really have to sweat. So the hope right now, if you're a Complexity fan, is that V1 maybe was making mistakes on that Lotus map that didn't cost them anything, that you can capitalize on here because maybe you're a little bit better drilled on this map. That's the win condition, is waiting for V1 to make mistakes and capitalizing, because just because they're a good team does not mean they make no mistakes. It just means they're pretty good at masking those mistakes.
Well, it's time to see in our upper semifinal match, This is the rematch from Game Changer Series 1. Let's see if we're gonna get a little bit of it in the history here, or if it's gonna be V1 taking that powerhouse title that we know and love them for. And to find this out, well, it's time to head over to Gumpers and Sully for map number 1.
With obviously a current 100% win rate in Game Changers, and that is a 6-0 undefeated. So you're looking at Complexity being here. That in itself is a surprise.
Yeah, keep in mind, Complexity Gomp had to make a lower bracket qualifying matchup. So they dropped to the lower bracket during the closed qualifiers, and then they got matched up against one of the tournament favorites, number 2 overall in North America Game Changers scene, Shopify Rebellion, and they won that in 2-0 fashion. So this is a Complexity team that are starting to come alive. They've got 5 stars that at any point in time can stand out, but I think today you look at players like Jazzykins, who is familiar with the V1 style, and Jazzykins, the Des talked about it, that matchup between her and Fluorescent is going to be a massive one. The last time these two teams played, Fluorescent had 5 first kills against Jazzykins, and Jazzykins had 0 to compete, so that is a massive duel to look out for.
It was exactly like what Buck said, right? You're looking at Fluorescent. It's a duelist killer. That's pretty much what we're looking at here.
And Complexity are... They've set this trap play up a couple of times. It looks like you want to beat in the smoke.
Yeah, already with Floor taking a nice first-hand shot. And you talk about the duelist killer working out very nicely, already pushing themselves back in to try to get that first-hand pick. Pistols looking, I mean, tremendous with Jazzy. Again, getting their own sort of revenge to really boost this back up.
1 HP cannot get hit by that dog. Jazzy has at least put this to a 3 versus 3, and where Complexity have shown on this map is certainly in these retakes. And what makes them so strong is this kind of map control. Jazzykins already finding another tag.
Yeah, but with 1 health, possibilities are super, super slim. Complexity got 2 more players that can really honestly try to bait into this, get some sort of pick through. With Jazzy low, I mean, possibilities are slim, but maybe a bait out to try to satisfy their needs here. Version 1 super slow to touch. Yeah, you're not seeing any information here. Unfortunate, impossible slow push in. You got the orb already coming out, so there is going to be some vulnerability there. Sarah, I mean, already ends off here.
Yeah, strong post one here from version 1. All 3 players committing towards that site. And Complexity, they do 2 pistol strats that we've seen from the last 2 times they played Lotus, and they went for the C1. Normally, you'll see this combination of the Sky, Omen, and the Jet on A or towards C. This is the pistol round read that V1 had. They've seen this multiple times, and we have seen it multiple times from Complexity. They did it against Valaris in their closed qualifier matchup. And here, V1, they counter it by beating the early aggression. They get Fluorescent really early out towards Mound. She's able to find a nice double. She loves to play those very aggressive lurks on the attacking side, see what she can find on her own. And especially on Neon, she can break a lot of early sight lines that Jazzykins will look to probably establish early on.
Yeah, creating those early counts is, again, making it super difficult. Already missing out on weapons as well. Like, you're seeing a Vandal from Fluorescent, a player that's already so dominant. That's going to look so good if they win this round.
V1 have been incredibly strong in their attacking side. They typically started on the offense, and so there's a big sample size to how good they are, and their win rate, I think in Game Changers alone, has been 70+%. So Complexity, not only did we know this was going to be a must-win map, but this defensive side, it kind of the series starts here. If you want a chance to even win a map off of V1, you have to have a strong defense. And against a V1 team that is utterly dominant in the attack, it's going to be a difficult task for sure.
Yeah, picking one off, though, that's going to be good off Noya in a situation where they could have honestly gone down without retrieving one. You see version 1 in a better spot than what they would have been in a circumstance like this one. 3 players left and still trying to fight for some sort of, evidence back here. But as it is, I mean, with Complexity, again, they're in a really tough spot playing against a team like version 1. Lacey making a miracle shot.
Putting on a decent bit of damage here, Complexity. Another gun here would be really nice to take away from V1. They can't pick anything up, but they are trying to force... Yeah, look at how uncomfortable V1 are right now. There's a chance that a player here could go down. Mel has no escape route except for that rope.
Oh, Sarah's got an escape route, and honestly, it feels like taking 3 out of the equation is a part of that as well. That's going to be the 2 needed to really continue this forward.
Nice there from version 1 to not only get away with the Vandal, but those 2 extra Bulldogs. So a really strong bonus moving forward here for V1. They'll have guns to close down the distance. Complexity We know, like I was saying, the defensive side is the half where they need to get some rounds, right? This is a V1 team that have been dominant on the attack, and it will start here with Jazzykins getting the operator. She's been a pivotal player in all of Complexity's defenses. Setting Jazzykins up with the op gives you so much map control and allows you to play these gambles on either C, A, or B. Depending where Jazzykins is, that's where Complexity will set themselves up around her. And so you can see here, a push down towards B. They have an aggro peek towards C as well, so they should know this is an A hit.
Even looking at this early push out Complexity. Again, you're just seeing a lot of confidence in a game against a team as strong as V1, but Jazzy, knowing some of the players on this team, their tendencies as well, not going to back off just yet.
Noya was stuck in this corner. They've called some reinforcements here, version 1, to try and get her out of the tricky situation she was in, and they've done exactly that. Still some decent map control for V1 towards A.
Oh, but there's so much potential here. Floor actually juking Jazzy out of the way. The up out of the hands of Jazzy. So now you're completely missing out on that economy, and your duelist is down as well.
There's that fight between Fluorescent and Jazzy. The big duel between these two. And Jazzy's going to struggle on the operator to punish specifically Fluorescent. Like if Fluorescent was maybe playing a Jet or a Raze, any other agent, it's a lot easier to pick them off with the operator. But the speed that Fluorescent can move at and the ability to dash, or apologies, slide across the map, it makes it so much harder to connect those op shots.
Yeah, trying to connect a little bit more here going towards A. Again, they're missing out on the op now. They have to create such a good hole with the kill you're seeing out from Killjoy, or else this whole thing just tears apart to shreds. Already managing to make some of that damage.
That kill they got on Jazzykins allows them to make this baby door pop here, putting pressure on A and instantly pivoting back. He already had Noya in a spot to play this post plant, and look at V1 getting aggressive, already trying to cut down Complexity in this retake.
Oh, so much information though. That flash is actually getting themselves in very nice and easy. Lots and lots of space being created here, especially from V1. Slow peek over Lacey, not knowing where they are. Claudia coming in for the second, but it's a beautiful play from Floor. It's impossible to get past this team just based off of the individual mechanics from these players.
And of course, it's Fluorescent to find 3 in the first rifle round V1 have against Complexity. And she's been huge for this team. #1 in Game Changer Series 1 and #1 during the close qualifiers here for version 1 and as a whole. She has been on a tear to find 3 and more importantly, to pick off Jazzykins. Again, that's the duel that a lot of people are going to focus on and we should look at. Is Jazzykins on that op? What can she find? And Fluorescent has been very good. The duelist killer of the desk quoted. She'll be a force to reckon with here. As you can see already, she's got the sprint ready, looking to again break the early sightlines that Complexity want to establish.
Keeping in mind the situation at hand too, Jazzy, I mean, eventually everything starts to crumble. He's going to have to try to get themselves up there at some point, just to keep the mental intact. Paranoia actually getting prepped up. Jazzy slowly peeking through. You've got 2 flashes already on the opposite sides, really prepped and ready. Jazzy taking a chance here. You know, you got pistols in your hands. The most you can really walk away with is some economy.
Some decent space here, though. It was established for a second from the Complexity, but V1 just pivoted through that other door.
Even a rush through, it's not looking too good. Sarah getting a nice tag off. Jazzy, again, being that first-hand player going down. You still got, I mean, everybody really just surrounding the angles back and forth, the backside not even being watched at this point. I mean, there really is no worry. Complexity, 3v3. Sheriffs in hand, no Vandals to be picked up.
We'll see if Complexity can maybe pull another rifle here, get something in their hands to make this happen. Okay, 3v2. Mel and Noya a little bit disconnected from one another at this point in time. A smoke up in 3 seconds, but Noya's playing off her turret.
Oh, Mel's
She's been smoked off.
Nice and easy. This is perfect. The second one down, and potential was there for a couple seconds, but Complexity just messed it up.
No util to get back into that one. No way to flush Mel out of that position. And a 4-0 start here for version 1 on Complexity's map pick. And we know version 1 to be an utterly dominant team. You can see the confidence that they have. A lot of the times on the A and C side, they play these post plants, and even on B, where they'll just dump util on it, right? Layer the snake bites with the poison orb, layer his own Noya and her nanoswarms. But you can see these last couple rounds have been them pushing the issue and getting in Complexity's face. A confident team, and Jazzykins back on the operator. Apologies. Yeah, it is Jazzy. I thought it was Lacey for a second. Back on the operator. Here's Jazzy looking for anything.
It's not going to be easy. We saw the way that Floor handled this last time. It was a jiggle peek to try to, again, create that distraction. 2 flashes to push back. It's just the cohesion from V1, the util usage just to push this back.
Here, you should run.
3-player stack now on the C site. As that lockdown gets put into effect here, version 1 making a simple exec happen, forcing a retake now of complexity. We do have Seekers to work with to try and get back into this site. But for now, version 1, more than likely going to establish this post plant where they plant for Mound, 4 players back up, leave Fluorescent in the site to fight.
Such an awkward situation too. The smoke's going in that deep. Now not only do you have to try to fight past that, you got a Viper's pick going down from Sarah, creating an even bigger storyline there.
Seekers coming out, trying to flush Sarah out of her position, but they can't find anything. This is such a difficult site to retake with the Viper's Pit online now.
What's going on too? Floor actually, again, trying to be that duelist to really make those plays happen. No frags coming through, so V1 though, on the extremities, there is some space there to be made. Sarah's still keeping up through that Viper's Pit. Yeah, they're coming out of that. They know that's not winnable.
No chance they get into that Viper's Pit. It's just way too crowded and clustered, and version 1 taking a 5th round, comboing 2 ultimates to lock down the Viper's Pit, layered to get onto the site, and then for the post plant. At least an operator away here for Jazzykins. There's some silver lining in that round, but version 1, and the 2 rounds that Jazzykins has had the operator have been so good at punishing her. The jump spot, I think at round 3 from Fluorescent, to bait out Jazzykins' operator, allow time for them to reset, to take that space back and punish her, and then in that round, the Trailblazer forcing Jazzykins off the angle. And she's the crux of the defense for Complexity, where she is. Whatever angle she holds, the rest of version 1 are given opportunities to stack other parts of the map, so punishing Jazzykins was a key play here for version 1.
Oh, and it's always the first missed shot. Jazzy just cannot seem to get that first engagement, even though it's pretty much given over by the aggression coming through from V1.
Here.
Go for the repeat. Viper's Wall not up here in version 1. So a chance for a kill. Just cleared out tree as well. But I think the Viper Wall has gone up here from version 1. So Complexity are forced into that 3-player stack, leaving the B site severely weakened.
Barely actually getting any info. Only really listening into Claudia, but Floor's just going in. Despite everything right now, Sarah's still on the lurk, getting the one. That's beautiful, because now Complexity again down to this 4v3 situation, having at least somewhat of an advantage.
Punishing Fluorescent as well. There's a flash, maybe a play here.
Oh, and still a peek. It's coming in close, and Jazzy's still watching it with Dom. Again, I mean, potential here, but can they turn it around? No, version 1. Again, possibly giving that first-hand round over to Complexity.
Giving up a lot of players there. Fluorescent getting punished, and then I think the rest of version 1 just trying to trade her out, see if they can take that space back, get the plant down for themselves. Like I was saying earlier, is from what I had seen in the last time they played this map, and version 1 just played this map, they are used to setting up for post plants. Like they would plan on the B default box and just back away and play the nanostorms, but here I just felt they gave a lot to Complexity and played a very risky game in trying to fight those players. I think version 1 trying to adapt in case Complexity, you know, did their homework, and there's a lot, again, there's a lot of tape on version 1, so I'm not surprised that they're switching this up and trying to catch Complexity off guard.
It's also hard and difficult when you see Complexity again taking a stand back. You're giving away no information to version 1 whatsoever, making it even harder to try to fight for something big. Raze, especially sitting with Yoda, and like, this is disaster.
Jazzykins with a very forward angle and still has the dash online. So she's in a very good spot and allowing that, again, that stack over here towards C. Fluorescent just trying to walk on in. Gets gunned down by that Odin. And a lot of util can be layered here. Even the Trailblazer follows up to check for anything.
We were seeing so much util before to push back the op, to push back the angle. Now we're not seeing anything. A slow peek from Floor to try to fight for C site. And now see what happens.
And look how close Complexity are playing to this smoke. They're even going for the fight here. Noya not going to get punished. Does eventually get traded out, though.
Here.
That's a difficult one to win. Honestly, Jazzy's still keeping that hope in the op down towards A, so I'm liking the confidence. But again, I mean, big shot going over towards C. 2 players still left standing, but
30 seconds left. Version 1 have to get a move on. And they are committed to this C site now, where 2 players still wait. There's still a paranoia that can be layered here.
Actually, even then, using the ult as well to try to push back. They know where Lacey is now. Okay, potential is big. Because they have information to play with. So Lacey with the reposition. Shots fired. 13 seconds left. Slowly with the workup, but it's complexity just not allowing this push to come through despite the blind. Still got Lacey playing for that coverage. Version 1, yep, in a 1v2, but you can see how that works out.
And version 1's idea here was to contact their way in towards the C site. Maybe they can catch some players off guard, but Jazzykins and her positioning over towards A was kind of fully prepped for the fully prepped complexity for that A hit, and that's how the first kill for Raze comes through. She's completely aware that there's going to be some kind of pop, and that Odin extremely powerful in the C site. A lot of wall bangable positions, but she takes a very forward angle. And complexity will get their second round. They've strung 2 together now.
Yeah.
And Jazzykins once again will take the solo op towards A. But this time, I like this. V1 have made a slight adjustment. They're actually going to put Sarah to contest while the Viper's pick gets popped on C. This should keep and maybe draw a rotate out here early, as Jazzykins is going to be the solo anchor on A right now.
Oh, but this Jazzy's just pushing.
You have to be so careful of your Sarah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but that was perfect, actually. Not getting taken down.
The smart play here is for version 1 to at least drop a flash, force her off the angle, and force some rotates from complexity over towards A, and kind of just string this defense a little bit weaker on B and C.
Take this!
They don't go in quick, too. I mean, they're already hearing the mass amount of util being pushed into this. Alert coming through from C, too. So, if anything, just trying to gather information if you're V1.
And they have a back door here towards B. Noya had checked C. I think even heard the dog as well come through over towards B. And Fluorescent is looking to pop into the site off of her ultimate. In complexity, I don't know if they're going to be playing retake here again in a second, but it looks like V1 want to end towards B.
I've got
Last time it happened, didn't work out too well, but Seekers this time again to try to enlighten that push. We're seeing Kara, again location given away. Nobody pushing though. Oh, Fluorescent coming in, especially with the ultimate, and this makes such a big issue coming through for complexity. Almost impossible to get away from a player as strong as this one. But again, they're still waiting patiently. There's some self-control.
I got the spike.
Spike can go down here. 10 seconds left
10
in
seconds
V1.
left.
We'll be playing the post flank, but not a strong one. There's a flank coming in late from Sarah.
Again, Alexis making some big calls, able to see it just off of the other angle. Oh, and down behind, a big flank from Sarah. The 2K to come down in version 1, again catching complexity off guard. It's up to Raze, but a 1v3 situation. I mean, is there any chance at this point?
Doesn't look like it is Raze. Finally gonna meet her match against Sarah, who was on that lurk for 3. Was originally there to see if anyone was gonna go through baby door on A. But pushes forward through stairs, is able to wrap around and find 2. And V1, what a recovery here. I love this from Kara. She gets aggressive past the smoke, and it looked like everything was working well. I just felt like maybe that creep up from Claudia was a little bit mistimed. Honestly, I would have just full swung that if that's the play you were gonna go for. You were more likely to punch a player that way.
Yeah.
So V1 recovering off of maybe a slight mistake from Claudia, and that slow retake attempt from complexity gave Sarah the opportunity to slip up. She's 10-3 right now, as complexity will take their first time out, currently 6-2 in favor of V1.
For complexity too, I mean, again, it's unlikely. We're in a position where we weren't even expecting complexity, but I gotta be honest, they're still pushing a pretty good fight. Like, I'm seeing a lot of some fair plays here and very, very close numbers in terms of where the rounds are going. So for complexity, it really is just continuing to adapt, continuing to really put those plays through. Biggest issue is, you're seeing Jazzy getting taken out so early. Majority of the time, Fluorescent's causing problems. She's
yet to find a kill on the operator. As impactful as she has been in terms of where she's holding, if V1 are able to adapt and put a play wherever Jazzy can zopping, especially if it's going to be on the A side where Sarah has the opportunity to make those crosses because of her wall, this is going to be a difficult defensive half for complexity. It's 6-2 right now. You're looking for at least 5 rounds, I think, to make this map winnable. The timeout called, they're on an eco, so the next round is where we're going to look for those changes and those adaptations that they're going to run.
Well, there's not even anyone on A. It's a completely free site. Everybody's directed their attention over towards mid. Even now, Jazzy's still preying on the enemy, trying to get an off shot.
Kill onto Noya would be nice. At least would be a rifle they could pick up. The A site in full control now of version 1.
Turret's destroyed.
Yeah, chance is super slim. You're seeing everybody already waiting alongside. Complexity. They're getting a nice first shot on Noya, and that kind of does give them a weapon to play with. Kara picking that one up.
They will have the lockdown to move forward if they, if they get maybe one extra kill here, maybe another rifle as well. I would pop that ult low key. 3 players though. Version 1 committed towards this heaven fight, knowing that the flank. A couple players push behind them.
That's 3.
It's the push that worries me, but Floor still somehow manages to just take it back despite that the ace again. It's the duelist killer. It's the team killer.
Of course, it's Fluorescent. Again, #1 in Game Changing Series 1, #1 through the closed qualifier. I think there were questions who's #1. In my mind, there really isn't a question who's #1 in Game Changers right now. Fluorescent has been outstanding to watch. Mechanically, she is insane. So version 1, it's been no surprise how good this team has been. They've got, I think, the #1 and #3 ACS players from the closed qualifiers on their team, that being Fluorescent and Noya. For Complexity, what are the changes they've made? Jazzykins back on the operator. But once again, Complexity are putting pressure on a lot of these opping angles. You can counter it with a simple flash like this, a smoke as well, and instantly Jazzykins gets nullified. They don't have the confidence to stack the A site, and that's why Lacey begins to rotate.
And that's huge now. Instead of playing 3 players towards A, kind of limiting their numbers. Again, biggest issue is going to have to be that Killjoy. But creating more of that diversion from Noya. Here. Yeah.
Retake here on C. They have the lockdown. And they could play it as well over towards stairs if they're lucky, but that's where the alarm bot is there for. And version 1 are seeing what they can bait out. They can find an early pick here. They've been very good in these 5v4 conversions. Complexity know it as well. They've been very careful not to give them anything.
Oh, but Paranoia is actually huge here. They push back Lacey. Not even given a chance. Fluorescent, of course, gets taken down. The aggression a bit too much there. But that, again, that kind of leaves way for Complexity to try to work with this potential.
Off of that kill, Complexity should be ready for a site hit here. Once again, Jazzykins is no longer smoked off her op angle, so they know where this hit is coming from. It has to be B, or it has to be towards A. The spam finally works out. They didn't have any door control, and that is such a risky orb to grab, even if Sarah wants the ult.
Okay, but it's a perfect play from Raze. Now taking down another. You got Sarah and Fluorescent down. Your controller leaving it up to Mel at this point. What smokes are going to go down? Where they're going to lead to? B site looking really good, but Jazzy's still waiting there with the op. It's not looking too
I don't know if she spotted her jump.
I don't even know, but Noya still takes it down. They're still waiting for more, and it's Kara to take the second. Version 1, again, really hoping to lead away with some sort of round. But a 1v3, Alexis taking maybe 2. Nope, Raze completely ends the life.
Complexity finding a 3rd round off of their timeout. And despite version 1 forcing Jazzykins off that off angle, it was that spam and that early pick. There was that major engagement over towards B. The paranoids being sent back and forth. It was a flash from Kara and a flash from Lacey, and a counter flash back as well from Mel. But instead, I think Fluorescent wanting to punish off of that paranoia. It was Kara that didn't get blinded. And so because she doesn't get blinded, she punishes Fluorescent, and their V1 are kind of stuck. They don't have the entry potential. They can't make a fast play in towards the site. And giving up a pick, trying to play off the ultimate of Sarah. Version 1 not able to convert, in Complexity. These last 2 rounds are kind of make it or break it, in my opinion, for this map.
Yeah, for
But Sarah, she could work onto the site and just play with the Viper's Bit. This B site is completely open. It's a retake setup here for Complexity with a lockdown.
Well, Floor's actually making this look
Getting
good,
into
though.
the site instead.
Still towards mid. Okay, in the middle of the site, still taking a second. It doesn't matter. I mean, Floor, again, just always finding these heads. Nobody's looking at her.
Jazzykins is going to try to rework back into this with an operator. It's so difficult to make this happen. And I think if you're Complexity, you consider a save here, because Claudia's got no cash. Raze isn't either, but they're actually... Oh, no, that's the V1 lockdown. I thought that was the Complexity lockdown. So this is a save call here from Complexity. They just don't have the cash to make the last round happen.
Yeah, honestly, at some point, trying to wonder, is the op really giving you the profit that you're looking for from Jazzy? Because I'm not seeing, a lot of that really coming through. And Jazzy in itself is a super strong player without the op, regardless.
She hasn't had a single op kill. I think she's maybe shot twice with the operator. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we go. She's got her first. She's got her first. There we go.
That's karma for talking
Literally,
bad about
just as
Jazzy.
I said, she doesn't have a single op kill. She gets her first.
Honestly, that could roll into something. I gotta be honest with you. It's the last round. Again, taking the first op kill. Not feeling too bad about themselves here.
Still a lockdown for Complexity to play with. Raze one as well off of her Viper's Pit. And what has worked for Complexity is these stacks.
Yeah.
Jazzykins has, you know, not been the most impactful player, but at least her presence and the fact that they do have an operator on the map is allowing those stacks from Complexity. And they're going to try the 3-player push here. If there's any contact, a Paranoia comes out from Lacey to push them back. But it's one of those gambles that hasn't worked out for Complexity at all in this map.
Oh, Jazzy still
And
playing in this angle. Yeah, they're very much aware.
An instant back away from Noya. And you're looking at Claudia to stay alive. Just back up for the post plant, back up for the ults. And version 1, we see them push up towards Heaven. I think this is a play where they're going to try and wrap over towards Heaven and shut the lockdown in play.
Oh, but they found two down towards back. That's huge. They can play with that floor now running in, and the second coming through. Again, it's big off the floor. The continuous push and the effort to really just break through on the site. Now you leave 2 players still on the rotation. Jazzy with the ult for the retake.
Such a well-coordinated push from version 1. A Paranoia and an instant swing from Fluorescent. And they have just absolutely outclassed Complexity in this round. Who had the goal of staying on site, maybe catching players off guard. Version 1 should have been expecting a retake. Complexity trying to change up the style that they were going for. Play on site. Fluorescent looking for a 4th kill here. This is looking devastating here as Complexity will surely be going down 9-3. This has been a dominant version 1 half. And this was the win condition. Complexity not only needed this map, they needed a strong defensive side.
But attacking? Man, I feel like now you're kind of limiting Floor's potential here, especially since they shine the most on that attacking side. So we're kind of moving things back over and giving Jazzy a shot at this point to really make their own stride. So really hoping to see some sort of shot up in terms of that performance.
Fluorescent has been exceptional in these opening kills, and it's been such a difficult thing if you're Complexity to deal with. Version 1 coming into this were 95% in their 5v4 conversion. So the fact that Fluorescent has just been so successful, they were, I mean, I think destined to convert a lot of those early man advantages. Now on the defense here, version 1, can they close things out? Complexity, it goes without saying, I'll have to start it off here with a pistol. And it's towards B that they want to head. A retake here from version 1.
First push to again bring things to a certain point. How are they going to pull this off? You see the alarm bot just waiting on information given away. Floor knows exactly where Jazzy is, but Jazzy catches it first. And that's going to be a good start, honestly, to this gameplay in general. You're already seeing Complexity take out the majority and leaving Noya with absolutely nothing to work with here.
Great entry there from Jazzy. Just pulling the attention. We have 2 version 1 players over towards Heaven. And I love I think she's very well rehearsed as to how version 1 played that B site. Instantly looks for Fluorescent lurking out through the smoke. Very, very well played from a player that has been very quiet on this map, Jazzykins. That head-to-head between her and Fluorescent has gone the way of Fluorescent so far in this map, but on the attack is hopefully where she can spin things around. So Complexity on the right foot here, but still down by 5 rounds. And they've elected to go for only 2 Bulldogs here. Not that strong of a bonus will come out of this one, if hopefully not if, but when they win this round.
Will they win this round now?
Faking A aggression. There's an early Paranoia over towards A.
Oh, I like this. This is such a huge pinch. Actually waiting for Mel to get in such a comfortable position so they can allow themselves to push out towards mid. Biggest worry of mine is, are they going to find Mel before Mel finds them? Maybe. Now actually leading towards that push down towards mid. Jazzy figuring this out, hearing the footsteps, Floor with a nice pick off, but it's not enough. You still have to work your way up towards that weapon. And slowly make way. Anoya makes a shot, but again, a 1v3 situation. You're stuck with just the Sheriff in hand.
Oh my God.
It's not enough for Floor.
I got so scared. I saw there was a 1v1 and Lacey was on 46 HP. I was like, there's like a chance that, that Fluorescent wins that. But version 1, the anti-eco going the way of Complexity. The play, I mean, there was a great, I like the idea from version 1, faking an A push, faking A aggression, like a triple push down, and then as soon as Mel made contact, that's when the push would happen from the rest of the players towards mid, because everyone would hopefully be in A lobby. But now the rifle's out here for version 1, and not the best of buys. They actually don't get away with the second Bulldog here, unfortunately, Complexity. So They had to buy back Raze on the Guardian. This is not a comfortable look here for Complexity, I won't lie.
Yeah, trying to keep their stride, quite honestly, but I'm looking at the way they're holding this down. Again, patience. Yeah.
Pushing them into a B hit, just off of that aggression. And look at the stack here. Version 1 wanted them to hit towards B. There are 2 Nanoswarms, an Alarm Bot, and 3 players here.
This Slash is getting so much info. And that's big. Floor is actually still waiting for something to come through. Here in the shots, it's more than one. Spike still down towards B. Actually moving itself back.
And Mel in a very good spot. I don't know how far her TP will reach. And we'll see if she can get out of here, but there is a wall to help her out. And a player not too far away, that being Alexis. Rework back here for Complexity. They wanted to see what was over towards A. And it will be a C hit here. Just Sarah, but she has a full kit.
Oh, it's too late. Jazzy's already on site. Sarah has to fight this, and that's nice. It still continues away. Sarah getting another through the smoke. But now it's going to start to dissipate, giving away some of that vision. Good enough here with the Trailblazer as well. Finding out the 2. They've gotten the links. So now they have an understanding as to where they need to push. 25 seconds left. Spike still in hand.
And still a double Nanoswarm Alarm Bot setup here on B. Mel can swing whenever she wants.
Oh, they pulled.
And it just goes down as well to the Nanoswarm.
No charges.
Wow. Beautiful round. Honestly, version 1 handled that with class, and it feels like that's been every single round.
And they've been dominant. And this next round with all the rifles here from Complexity is kind of make it or break it at this point in time. You lose here, you're going to be reset, and you're even investing in an offensive operator from Lacey. Complexity a must-win round, whether it's this map and possibly the series goes the way of version 1. Pearl is one of the most dominant maps that V1 have. Complexity loss, I believe it was 9-13 to Xset in the closed qualifiers. And version 1 killed 13-1 on Pearl. Complexity, this round could be everything, and Mel once again has gotten aggressive.
And K completely gone, but now the Trailblazers are trying to find out where everybody is. And again, patience is now running thin. But it's okay. There is some obedience left back from version 1.
A backdoor exit and possibly a B pivot. As you can see, version 1 are kind of prepped for it. An early smoke gets dropped. 2 players over towards heaven, expecting a baby door rush. It leaves just Mel alone on the A site. And she's not in a position where I think she can make a quick TP out. Complexity, maybe not committed. They fake the door and they will go through baby door because they have that lurk from Claudia.
Oh, but they've completely read into this. If you're version 1, you know they're not going to push you towards site. Still, Alexis getting a flash through, but Clara understands the situation at hand. Complexity, they're still slowly working their way up. I'm surprised Lacey even has the up on the attack right now, trying to keep things intact. It seems like it doesn't matter. The op is working out perfectly, and everybody else goes down as well for version 1.
That was a scary, scary play from Alexis. That wall is so annoying to play against, and I love it. I don't think I've seen that on this map, Lotus. The way that the wall is played is it's just in front of the B Heaven ledge that you can make those kinds of really risky pop flashes, and Alexis goes for that kind of play, and version 1 thankfully had one player play an anti-flash over towards the A link, and they're able to punish. The Complexity, the rework back in towards B keeps them alive in this map, in this series, more than likely. This version 1 are getting aggressive over towards A, and we'll see how Raze elects to deal with this.
Yeah, but with Complexity showing a fierce side of them, it doesn't matter what push comes through because they're rooting into this very, very well. Again, aggression is a game they like to play, so they know when someone else is going to commit to that.
It will just be a B hit, it looks like, from Complexity. Lockdown and available here if they want to use it. Just trying to draw a rotate off of that. Breaking the turret early is the alarm bot not in a position where it will get that early info. That's mainly for anyone entering and going for plants into the site. Look at the control version 1 have and the full retake C setup. This isn't a weak buy by any means from V1. There's a stinger in the mix, but everyone else has got a rifle. And Fluorescent, we've seen what she can do with the ultimate.
At this point, they should know. There is some Killjoy util sitting down towards B. No bait coming through from Jazzy yet, though.
A lot of retake util as well from version 1. Raze has got great timing here. Possibly can find Mel. Fluorescent on the jump gets punished, and she heard the TP early in this round.
Raze already making some picks come through, but I mean, overall, from Complexity, you get it 2-1. You're in a very, very good spot. He's giving you some potential here. Alexis again. Oh, it's dog on dog and still actually gets stunned. The flash to try to stop this, but Jazzy on the way up, and it's Complexity again catching this team off guard.
And pushing version 1 in a pretty uncomfortable situation now. They're going to be reset for what feels like the first time in this map. And Complexity, that one round that they won, that got them onto 6, has kept them alive and pushed version 1 to a point where they have to make a save happen. And this is where Complexity can build that momentum. They're punishing the aggression that version 1 have shown on A. Stop Fluorescent from getting really any major impact in these past couple rounds. And now they've got ults to play with as well. We have a lockdown in play. Viper's Pit's going to come online in the next round. Version 1 will have some ults of their own, so we're going to have a major ult clash in the next round. But this one, hopefully, should be simple from Complexity.
Surprised we haven't seen much coming through from V1. A jump peek from Sarah, but actually not even expecting to get taken out the way they did.
Look, it's been 2 rounds that Lacey has had the operator, and she's found 2 kills already on the attacking side of all things, which is even more surprising to me.
Should have seen Lacey on the op on the defense. It seems like they're going crazy with it, honestly.
I was implying that. I was implying that, but I didn't want to say it.
It's just Lacey's day today, honestly. And, you can see why. Even playing as the Omen, it's like that confidence to peak. While Jazzy's holding the spike, it's like a complete reversal of roles.
Yeah, literally. And they've walked all the way up towards A off of Raze's Lurk. Noya, I mean, every time I watch her play, it's when she has a sheriff, she's so scary.
Oh, no. They've missed the spike. Not Noya again fighting on site. Luckily enough, you're looking at this team Complexity. They're still good again at converting whatever happens to them.
And there's no one here to support Claudia. I actually don't like this positioning. Claudia can get caught off guard. Yes, she's got the turret, but how quick does she react? And where are these Complexity players? You give up a singular rifle. Fluorescent's got an ultimate. This round becomes a little bit different.
Right down.
They're pushing. At this point, Mel doesn't even have... Oh, they do have a flash. They're going to peek through this, and Alexis, again, a nice trade and a weapon to use. So at this point, you're still in the game for version 1.
Seekers as well.
Last player standing.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Doors open. Alexis goes down, and you're up to Fluorescent. And Fluorescent has been done with peeking aggressively. At this point, they just want to relax and leave the scene as fast as possible. Maybe even get one at this point, leaving with none.
Now the ultimates come into the forefront. Version 1. We'll see what they have. 4 ultimates. Lockdown and Viper's Pit probably being the 2 biggest ones. Lockdown here for Complexity, and 1 off of this Viper's Pit. This is a major round between these 2 teams. Ults will get used from Complexity, surely. Same from version 1 as a response, where we see the early Viper's Pit. And look at the change up in this wall. Wow, this is a new one of an aggressive wall towards C. And how will Complexity adjust around this? There is an op actually from Mel that is going to take the aggressive C angle after Fluorescent gets space, but there's nothing here from version, or apologies, from Complexity. And they've gotten C control and they've gotten A control. And the B site is extremely difficult to retake, but because you have this lockdown, I like this play from version 1, almost trying to pull Complexity and push them into a B hit.
They're not budging. They're not biting on anything. Doors open because now they know they have another entry point to come in through A, but it seems like they're actually just trying to lead Sarah to really move away.
And the control that version 1 have over towards stairs for the lockdown retake as well.
You should run.
It's going to be difficult here for version 1 to get, oh my gosh, Complexity to get back into this site here, but they have popped the lockdown early here.
Yeah.
And waiting for Noya's response, but not getting it.
Oh. Timing that very well, but also kind of still giving time away.
They seem a little bit disconjointed, I'm not going to lie. There could be a lurk here. Jazzy gets just spotting Sarah through it.
I don't know how Jazzy got that. Still, though, lockdown is left alive. Jazzy going towards B, and this is big. They finally managed to really take themselves away from the situation. Complexity so close.
But they're not giving Raze a spike here. It's instead going to be planted here from Kara.
We don't need a spike. Mel actually picking up the op now. Fluorescent still on their way, and version 1. This might be the first round in ages that they've been able to pick up. And it seems like it might just be that case. The op, everything coming out into play, and Lacey is coming out with everything in their power, but it's not enough.
And a huge, huge round between these 2 teams. 3 ultimates getting popped between. 4, actually, if you want to include Fluorescent's ultimate. And a Viper's Pit could have been used there, but Raze didn't get the spike plan. And look at the timing here in this post play. This flash swing and the Seeker's combination catching one player blind on the box. A player stunned down below, that being Kara. And look how quick Fluorescent is to pop that ultimate. She can just run around. It's impossible to hit.
Yeah.
And Complexity using a lockdown, not investing the Viper's Pit, will at least have some ultimate to work with. And over towards C, they're going to put the pressure. Lacey already on site getting the info.
Ah, they're still holding this. I think Virgin would have learned from previous times. They have to hold the site, yeah, but the punish is there.
No one here on site for version 1 to make that trade. A full retake, but no ultimates to work with. And this has to be a Complexity win. If you don't win this one, you will have no ultimates to back you up to make a play happen, and version 1 will have map point.
If anything, Complexity, again, pushing for such a close game. And
Claudia,
Fluorescent, yeah.
Not alone, at least this time.
I've got your trail.
Oh, no, this is dangerous. Oh, Paranoia is still reaching that far, giving away maybe the 2K, but Claudia has to back off. Surprisingly enough, but low, though. So Lexus, again, yeah, better off to just leave this situation. That was a close call.
Hold on to the operator, hold on to the two guns. Sarah is not looking good economically. And Complexity finding a critical 9th round.
Yeah.
And they keep 5 players alive while doing it. They've isolated Sarah. A weakened C site. In version 1, no team thus far in Game Changer Series 2 has gotten double digits on them. Complexity are 1 round away from breaking that streak. 6 maps played. And the most rounds on them, I think, was only 7, I believe.
Yeah. If anyone's going to do it, it has to be Complexity.
And they called the timeout. I feel like this is a very, very rare occurrence from version 1.
Man, listen, from Complexity's performances before, they have been pretty much proving everybody wrong. So what's another game to prove everybody wrong again?
They've taken down Shopify Rebellion, the number 2 Game Changers team. 4 more rounds, 4 clean rounds from Complexity. They could take the first map off of version 1. What's the play for version 1 here? No ultimates to work with. Neither team having any ultimates. Complexity have been good at punishing those sites. The mid-rounding as well has been exceptional from Complexity. Just a couple of unlucky circumstances. Punished by the flash from Alexis on B.
Yeah.
Even after committing that lockdown. And they still have the operator here for version 1. I would like to see just putting Mel in a solo anchor. Like, I love the A feints that version 1 have been throwing. Like, they just toss a Paranoia, which has been really good for aggression there.
Yeah.
So maybe they set up the op anchor there. See if you can put Mel in a spot where she can play alone, and you can play those 2-player stacks on A and C.
It really does worry me. I think the biggest thing I really like coming out from Complexity is you saw Lacey actually take that up. They're willing to really switch things around.
Aggressive fight here towards A. Already a quick push, a snake bite maybe to follow up.
Now Floor's leaving. Floor has seen the push that's coming through from Complexity and realized the situation at hand.
And getting control of Baby Door makes this a very difficult rework in towards B. They have the Claudia lurk, so, I mean, we've seen Complexity go back in towards B multiple times.
Yeah.
Turn it down.
Oh, this is scary, though.
Yeah, Mel could be good for 1 here at least. And so the rest of Complexity will come back to try and help. You know the ops here. They don't.
That's huge. First pick. Now, what entry are they going to have other than, again, trusting maybe the flashes that come through from initiators, or even now trying to fight this push?
Keep in mind, version 1 have been extremely potent in 5v4s. Once they get that first kill, they're very good at closing out these rounds. And Claudia looking to maybe get a trade on the B site. Maybe they make a rework back in towards Baby Door. That seems to be the play right now. They just flash through the left side.
They're actually leaving Complexity speechless at this point.
Left.
Yeah.
Take this.
And any smokes here from Lacey? No smokes charged up. They just use 1. That's a great trade, though. That keeps him in this round, at least for the time being. But I don't think they can get the spike down confidently. No flashes here to get Fluorescent back into this fight, so she waits.
Oh, they're just sticking it, though. This is a 2K that Lacey has potential for. Oh, they're not peeking.
Beats it.
At this point, it's a separate peek, and again, version 1. They just take him down 1 by 1. It's impossible to win this round out if you're Claudia. But again, the post plan, I mean, potential there. Still, though, a second! And it's enough, but is it there? It's good for Claudia! Claudia with a Red Bull clutch.
And keeping Complexity alive in this map.
Remember what worked in the past.
Their map pick, and they absolutely needed to win it. And Claudia playing this peak perfectly, not revealing too much of her body. Taking the isolated fight, one angle, one chance, and one spray down. An elevated angle finds a collateral headshot.
Wow.
That was everything for Complexity. And 4 kills, she's 2 away from the ultimate. And look at the buy version 1 have. That was a huge round for Complexity to pick up.
How are you gonna come back from this if you're version 1? Honestly, after that one, you gotta be feeling yourself.
And Raze should know there's no aggression on A. In these eco rounds, version 1 will send Mel with that TP. So look at the space she's gonna get. And she's been so good in these lurks.
They're desperate at this point. After losing that one, it should have been a round 1. A match point for version 1.
Spike dropped.
And they're working back off of Sarah's, or apologies, Raze's lurk. They're gonna fake C play. They've done this before. They'll just send the Trailblazer, a slow, quiet walk up, and it's even forced to smoke out for version 1. So they're committed to the fact that this is gonna be a C hit. They've put the rifle, the lone rifle on the A site. And a second smoke as well, feigning even a bigger fake over towards C.
Can they do it again? Maybe.
Retake. Look how quick version 1 will be to this one. This is a dangerous round because of how quick they're gonna be on the site.
Oh, they're actually pushing this. Yeah, Jazzy, though. They're lucky enough that version 1 can't really play with much, but Fluorescent, again, we know them to be consistent in their gameplay, but it doesn't seem like maybe the pistols are working out well. Sarah stuck in a corner with a Bulldog, though. So again, we're peeking that right-hand side. Oh, the first fight won, the second now. And it's up to a 1v1. Lacey finding the head somehow and somewhere.
So scary, though, from Sarah. And that shouldn't have been that close for Complexity. It doesn't matter economically how many players they lose. They have plenty of cash to play with.
30 seconds left.
But this was, I mean, to me, this was a dangerous round just because of how good V1 are with pistols. And with a singular rifle, they did make it a 1 versus 1, which was scary.
Yeah.
Look at the ults here for Complexity. Lockdown in play. The first time any team has cracked double digits against this version 1 team. And Complexity have done it here.
Careful.
An operator for Lacey. She's found 2 kills so far in this half. Is looking to punish the C push.
If anything, it's been punishment enough just seeing these clutches come by time and time again from Complexity.
And a default, hoping to punish Fluorescent on that aggressive B peak. They don't see it, though. And they will drop an alarm bot. And I don't think it's known that an alarm bot has been dropped.
Yeah.
And they're going to work their way up towards C. They can pop this lockdown. But there's so much util here to delay. There's even an airstream already on site to prevent the spike from going down. But that gets popped very early, surprisingly.
Not even pushing down to the extremities. At this point, version 1, they look fearful to even try to aggress the way that they have before.
Post-plant lockdown. And this is going to buy time, or at least force a peek here from V1. And they're going to fight it quick.
Oh, Spore still going in. And it's the second one down. You still see version 1 grasping on. And they just take everything away.
You can either wait the lockdown out, or you can make a fast push like that. And how many coordinated hits have we seen between Fluorescent and Mel? A paranoia, and then an instant push from Fluorescent, who finds another triple.
Match point.
To get version 1 onto match point here. And now they've got a Viper's Pit. And this game just got a whole lot more difficult for Complexity. The lockdown was going to trigger some response from V1, but I just don't think that Complexity were expecting that kind of fast play. And in the last round of regulation, Complexity will call their final timeout. And version 1 bailed out again by the star player in Game Changers. Fluorescent once more, finding a massive triple and sending shockwaves through Complexity as they have to come up with their spawns in the last round.
They know the stakes in this game if they're Complexity, and I feel like this timeout, again, is really leading up to the worry. Like, it's now or never, and I feel like they have that understanding here.
And a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Because you're going up against a Viper's Pit, which is going to be an issue no matter where you go.
Absolutely.
It's just such an overpowering ultimate. And their default, it's been working, but in that round, the proactivity in which V1 played, which was very quickly re-clearing B after the alarm bot goes down, and they had pretty good control over towards A. It's just, I think the quickness of version 1 of that retake and their rotation over towards C, knowing it was probably going to be a commit. It might have even been a gamble at that point in time. And the Viper's ult is actually going to get popped here over towards B. There's an op. Mel, just gets shut down. They wanted C control to set Fluorescent up. But do they know about Fluorescent's push?
Looking at anything.
They have the control nonetheless. That's a big profit here for Complexity. But version 1 kind of being telegraphed that this is going to be an A hit.
Still with an op, though. At least he wins any long-distance fight.
And I think because there's no B lurk, you can't go through Baby Door, unfortunately. I don't think they will go into a B hit. This might just be a full A commit.
Oh, this is dangerous. Alexis has been peeking this angle for hours. Still having the impulse to do so. Lacey, trigger finger is not there.
Holds the alarm bot will give them a Q. Flash delay. A lot of good utility for D1.
Yeah.
Oh, it's done through. Oh, this is big info, too, because now version 1 actually trying to prep themselves. Yeah, this is time, though. Still information given away. Alexis get one off the smoke, so that's good enough for the time being.
Spamming where the actual ult orb was, and they actually do wrap through B door. Claudia is just so aware.
When the floor gets
30
taken
left.
down, it's up to Claudia to really make that flank not work out. So now version 1, they're going to have to try to switch things around.
Sarah can't commit to this fight, and they might actually wrap towards C, because that's where both the picks happen, and they are. And Lacey's just going to stick around, catch anyone rotating through Baby Door, see what she can find, maybe even catch a B rotate. She's got great timing, but on the operator it becomes a little bit more difficult. And version 1 will just play the post plant.
Lacey at this point is the win condition.
That's
the
it.
first
That
one
should
already
be it.
taken down. Yeah, that is pretty much the OT leading into this, but maybe they can take it back. Still, though, Sarah peeking through, but Jazzy leaving themselves up to this. 6 bullets left in the tank, and it is Complexity again. Noya still, though, trying to make a collateral happen. Are they going to be able to really pull through with this? You're looking at the paranoia, blind and not knowing where anybody is. Slowly peeking around the corner. Are they both there? Maybe so. They are being heard, but nobody else left to see. The hill completely covering that view, and the first one down. Time is there, but Lacey is there as well.
And overtime in map number 1 between Complexity and version 1.
Switching sides. Overtime.
They have done what no Game Changer team has done this year. Pushing them past double digits, pushing them to an overtime. And on a map that has so much film, it was the perfect battleground for Complexity to close out a map and to get something away from version 1.
Enemy standing.
And now in overtime, it becomes a battle of attrition. Who makes the first mistake? Both teams having stellar offensive sides. And Complexity won't go for the op here on Jazzy again. She hasn't been very good on it.
Yeah.
So she'll stick to the Vandal. And this is where Complexity struggled. And getting picked off by Fluorescent, who has been phenomenal this map, by the way. 27 and 18. And on the attack is where I think she really shined.
Yeah. You could consider this somewhat of a guarantee for V1 if Fluorescent actually pulls through with this push coming through from C side.
Slower default here from version 1. Both teams using their Vipers as the A-lurk to see what they can find. Maybe they can pivot off of that, but this does feel like a commitment here from version 1. A very far lean here with a spike. And Raze is going to get close. Play in the smoke as well. I love this.
Yeah, still a lot of worry, though, leading into that one.
It is smarter to just play back with the snake bites. 3 players here from Complexity on the C site.
Seen a lot of information already being baited out here. Alexis is slowly making some work up here with the lurk.
Yeah, trying to sell a fake here because she is the only initiator. So if she can pull something off, they've even dropped the Viper, or they've just thrown up the Vipers. Well, now it's come down. And so you've kept Jazzykins here for the time being. Open the door, sold an even bigger fake. Alexis doing everything she can, but that's a very well-timed flash. Complexity just threw out towards Mound. And now the full commitment here over towards A. 20 seconds left. Complexity are being read here. Smoke's going down. Even a paranoia from Mel. They've bought into the fake on C. And this is where version 1 will set themselves up for the post plant. No nanostorms from Noya. But they will have a chance to get onto map point first.
Oh, and they fought this angle every single time, and every single time for version 1 they've won.
You should expect it, Complexity.
Is it gonna happen again? Oh, they kind of do at this point. Again, they're trying to use some of that Sky util, leaving the Trill dog to come through, try to gather information.
They're going through stairs instead. There's an alarm bot already. Noya the only one to fight, though.
Oh, Noya's actually getting close. You're seeing the smoke, though. Unfortunately, not going to be able to fight with the Lexus, and it's 2. The Lexus makes it work. Version 1. Again, you're looking at their attacking side. They've won that fight countless times whenever they play that post plan on A, and you're seeing exactly why it works out for Floor.
Such a quick pivot. I love that for Claudia. Getting the info, knowing that a player pushed through up for alarm bot, and just letting Alexis do the dirty work. And Complexity,
yeah,
unfortunately not able to get the defensive round here. And that crosshair, the timing on this swing from Mel, Fluorescent, it's perfect. And the fake was even better from V1. Faking the door play, but that guiding light, there was a guiding light that was sent by Complexity, which I think cued version 1 to just committing towards A, because the C fake wasn't going to work. But they thought they basically pulled a double fake off against Complexity, and it was beautiful as they get onto map point here.
I think version 1 are fed up at this point. You're looking at, I mean, some really big aggression coming through from C-side, from Floor.
Sarah's picked up the Odin over towards Tree to punish anyone. I mean, we've seen a lot of times Complexity will go through Baby Door, but they're going through the C, spinning door instead, and that flash from Mel is just perfect. A 3K, and that might be the map here, unless Complexity can pull something big, and I don't think anything's coming. Claudia left alone in a 1v5. And for all it's worth, Complexity did get double digits, they did get overtime, but they won't get the map here unless something huge comes from 1.
I've seen it before. I'm gonna keep the hopium up, okay? Listen, Claudia put a big clutch moment through, but Alexis is waiting with the flash. See everybody ready to finish this off. And I don't think a collateral is going to happen today with a flawless coming through from version 1. And that's going to be that victory we were looking for.
And the difference maker is that final round, the 3K, the timing of that flash. Version 1 just putting a lot of pressure over towards C Mound, right? That's what they changed up. They got aggressive with 3 players. They took full control of that area, and it forced version 1, or probably just Complexity, to make that kind of reaction. They just unfortunately walk into the 3-player stack over on C.
Man, reactions are big, but honestly, I don't even know how to feel anymore. I know you don't, Sully, but I do want to see what everyone else feels. So, I mean, take it away.
Hello, my name is Noya, and I play Sentinel for version 1. I think I'm a really patient person, which is pretty good when you're a Senti player, because you kind of just have to AFK sometimes, which sucks, but mostly I just look at my map and I tell people information that they might be missing, and I think I'm just pretty aware of that.
Variable removed. Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Hello, my name is Tina. I play controller for Overkill. I think just being able to stay level-headed is one of the main things I bring to the team. I like to kind of like boost team morale if I can. If we're kind of feeling down after losing a couple rounds, I'll be like, all right, guys, just a couple more rounds. We got this. You know, just try to boost everyone's spirits up.
I think the reason we're so successful is because we practice a lot, and then also outside of practice, everyone plays a good amount of ranked. So everyone is like improving their skill individually as well as a team. Cool things about competing is the traveling and like seeing cool places, but I also like the adrenaline and just be reliable as a teammate, and like you have to be completely dialed in at all times. And I don't know, I think it's just the adrenaline, yeah.
One enemy remaining. Clutch.
I think I've been competing like my whole life. I was playing competitive soccer like for 10 years before COVID and Valorant and all that sort of thing. So I think I've always just had this competitive drive. I think a lot of people like to say that they want to win, but I think my biggest motivator is that I hate losing. So that is what drives me the most. Like, I want to win, but I hate losing like 10 times more. So that kind of just drives me forward. I'm like, okay, well, I need to get better because these people are exceeding or excelling in what they do, but I know that I have what it takes to take their spot or to beat them in the match or whatever it may be.
One enemy remaining.
We are going to show up on match day. We are going to play out of our minds and we're going to leave it all out there.
Our team's always going to do the best to get that second one in GC.